are going to be looking at the EFL Cup today. We're going to be doing a little bit of a review of the Carabao Cup quarter-final matches. Now, I wasn't really planning on doing this video, to be honest, because, you know, it's the EFL Cup and I'm not really that bothered on it. But there were some pretty crazy games and pretty crazy results, so I thought I'd cover it. We'll go through the games, talk through them, a bit of an informal one, give my thoughts on it. I did watch all of the games, so yeah, and I'll look at the draw as well. I'll look at the semi-final draw, give my thoughts on that, give a little bit of a prediction for those games. And also I do want to cover some sort of other football news that has happened this week, because there's been a couple bits of news I do want to cover, so just be a bit of a sort of chill ramble, if you like, about the EFL Cup, and then some football news too. So yeah, let's begin. So if we go to matches, I'm using football. Wait, how do I have a look by round? There we go. And we look at the quarterfinals. So we had Arsenal 3, Crystal Palace 2. A Gabriel Jesus hat-trick in this game. A really entertaining watch. Yeah, Arsenal come back, they were 1-0 down at half-time, but this was really a tale of two halves. I mean, first half, Arsenal really struggled to great, and I think Palace were great defensively. I mean, look, I'll show you the stats here, the improvement. Look at this first half, just 3 shots from Arsenal. We had all of the ball, but I mean, Palace had more XG. Palace were a lot better in the first half, and Arsenal just couldn't really break them down. And the Mateta goal, to be fair, was just from Kivior, a really poor defending from him. Kind of bullied by Mateta, but yeah, going into half time, things completely changed. It was an incredible second half by Arsenal. I mean, look at the difference here: 1.89 XG, 9 shots, completely nullified Palace on the attacking front as well. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible second half from Arsenal, who came out all guns blazing. And the interesting thing as well was Arteta and Arsenal clearly took this seriously. You know, the thing with Arsenal and Arteta over the last couple of years, they haven't really taken the cup competitions that seriously. And I mean, the starting lineup was heavily rotated. You know, you had the likes of Tierney in there, returning Sterling, Jesus, etc. But they're 1-0 down at half time. The team's heavily rotated. That's where Arteta either has the choice to go, okay, I'm going to bring on the big boys now and really try and win this game, or you know what, we're probably out. I don't really care about this competition. Let's just leave it. But he changed it. He brought on the big boys. Saliba came on at half time. Odegaard came on at half time. Saka came on later on as well. And yeah, they completely changed the game. But to be fair, it was, I mean, Odegaard definitely played his part. Like, he made a great assist for Jesus, but the main man was Gabriel Jesus. Managed to get a hat-trick in the second half, which is pretty mad, because Jesus, I mean, he's one of those strikers where he always plays really well, but in terms of it finishing, really poor. But he took his 3 chances really well. The second one was a nice little delicate finish. All of them, to be fair, really clinical finishes. So hopefully for his sake, this will do him a bit of a confidence booster for him. And well done to him. Yeah, Eddie and Nketiah also managed to grab one late on, but the game was wrapped up by them. Eddie Nketiah against his former club. I guess that was a nice little moment for him, but yeah, good win for Arsenal. Into the semis. Disappointed for Palace, though. But they definitely gave a good account of themselves. Newcastle beat Brentford 3-1. It was an absolute battering from Newcastle. Completely dominated Brentford in this one. I mean, look at this. 23 shots in this game. Yeah, Newcastle were absolutely electric in this one, and Sandro Tonali actually managed to get a brace in this one. It was a really good brace too. His first goal in particular was fantastic. Even a second one, really nice finish. And yeah, Newcastle, I'll be real, I think they're slowly getting back into form now. They started the season off poor, but the last couple performances and results have been really, really good. Starting to go back to the Newcastle of old, and particularly at home, making it a fortress once again. And, you know, the performances in the league haven't been great, so it's important Newcastle get some results in the cup. And a deep cup run is potentially on the cards here. We're in the semi-finals now. They obviously got to the final, like 2 seasons ago now, so hopefully they can try and match that, and it was a really good performance in this one. Brentford a bit unlucky, not great performance by them. They took it fairly seriously. They rotated a little bit, but they took it fairly seriously, as they should, because Brentford not going down, probably not challenge for Europe, so this is a great chance for them to potentially get a trophy, but yeah, wasn't to be completely outclassed by Newcastle, who were fantastic in this one. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2. Liverpool get the job done against I guess I was going to say newly managed, but they're not really managed. They just sacked their manager Russell Martin, have an interim in charge. But you know what, Southampton gave a good account of themselves. Liverpool were clearly a better team, as you can see, but Southampton definitely gave a good account of themselves, and actually almost snatched it towards the end of the game. In particular, after the Cameron Archer goal went in, which was kind of out of nowhere. It was an incredible goal, by the way, fantastic from Cameron Archer. But after that goal went in, Southampton had a lot of confidence, and Keller had to make some saves. Kwanzaa as well, in the last second, he pulls down some guy. That should be a red card, and that, was a clear foul. I don't know how he didn't give that as a foul. I don't think it was in the box though, but still, that's a crazy decision. And yeah, Southampton overall, I think, can be really, really pleased with their performance in general against Liverpool. They definitely held their own and did pretty decent in this game. It was very, very encouraging performance from them. They caused Liverpool some problems. Liverpool overall definitely were the better side, had much more quality. Trent Alexander-Arnold was superb in this one, a fantastic assist as well for Nunes, although it was a bit of a weird one, kind of sort of deflected into his path. McCarthy slips in goal. Yeah, it was a bit weird. But yeah, Liverpool get the job done in the end, just about rotated side heavily. A lot of youngsters got into the side. They actually played pretty decent, I thought. Endo at the back as well, and centre back was pretty good. Chiesa came off a bench and also looked really, really sharp. First time seeing him in a while back from injury, and he was pretty, pretty good. I'm excited to see how he does for the rest of the season. Could be a real weapon for Liverpool, but it's another win. They get the job done. It was a little nervy in the end, but well done to Liverpool. Alright, now this was the game which really made me do this video. Spurs 4, Man United 3, an absolutely crazy, crazy affair. It was pretty much two teams who were just so bad, but it made it so entertaining. The quality on the pitch was horrific, and both teams were just making error after error. Particularly the goalies, they were going band for band for us, forced on Banned here, for who could have a worse stinker. Look at that. He got a 3.5 rating, he got a 4 rating. They were horrific, both of them, and both teams in general were pretty bad. The defending on display from Man United in this game was horrific. For a lot of the goals, the defending by Spurs was pretty poor for a couple of them, although most of their goals was just Forster being a clown. But yeah, it made for an incredible watch. As a neutral, it was very, very entertaining, although I'm sure both fans were going through a roller coaster of emotions with Spurs. It was kind of weird. The first half was kind of boring to watch, to be honest. It was 1-0, Spurs sort of just held possession, Both teams didn't really create too many chances. And then second half, all of a sudden it just exploded. The second half, Spurs come out, the blocks on fire. Man United for the first 20 minutes got absolutely blammed. Spurs scored 2, go 3-0 up. Kulusevski with a goal, he's been fantastic. And Man United were getting absolutely dominated. And then all of a sudden, Fraser Forster with a freak, like a stupid distribution pass, stitches up, I don't know, I think it was Gray or Dragusin. It was a right centre back, definitely. Dragusin, and yeah, then Xerxes scores, and then all of a sudden the momentum shifts. Typical Spurs. I mean, as soon as one goes in, you always sort of felt like, oh no, the heads were dropping. And Man United all of a sudden had the momentum. Forster does it again. Ahmad came off the bench, was really, really good in this game. Yell again, changed the game when he came off the bench. And then 3-2, yeah, it was pretty mad. And then Son scores from a direct corner. I mean, to be fair, it probably was a foul on the goalie. There was no VAR though to intervene. I did think it maybe was a foul, like he was impeding his arm, but it is what it is. You still got to kind of deal with that being there. And yeah, then at the end, again, I was like, oh my days, the game's over. Then Evan scores. It was just absolutely crazy to watch. Really entertaining. Both teams were not the best, but it was very, very entertaining to watch. Got to see my goat Anthony play as well. I haven't seen him play in a while. He put in a stinker as per usual. But yeah, disappointing for Ruben Amorim. I mean, the performance was pretty bad, to be honest. Up until that Xerxes goal, it was not doing too well. But I thought they were going to do another Manchester City-esque comeback. It wasn't meant to be. No trophy, no Carabao Cup for Ruben Amorim, which is a bit disappointing. But I mean, I don't think this was really their priority anyways. Spurs, though, could be on for a trophy. They managed to get the job done, and they're into the semi-finals now. They're into the semi-finals where they will play Liverpool over 2 legs, and Arsenal will play Newcastle over 2 legs. So 2 really, really good ties, I think. As a neutral again, I'm excited to watch some of these games. It should be really, really fun, really entertaining, and I've got some real great narratives here. I mean, there's a potential we have a North London derby in the Carabao Cup final. I mean, when was the last time we had a North London derby in a final? That would be absolutely electric. And imagine that, obviously there's a lot that has to happen here, but imagine it's a North London derby in the final and Spurs win. Miguel Arteta, oh my days, I genuinely think most Arsenal fans would be Arteta out if Spurs beat Arsenal in the North London derby in a final to give Spurs their first trophy in 15 years. Honestly, I think Arteta might be sacked. That would be crazy, but equally, if Arsenal beat Spurs in a final, our Spurs fans are just not going to live that down. Arsenal fans are not going to live that down. You could also have a Newcastle Spurs final, which would be really cool because you'll get 2 teams who haven't won a trophy in a long, long time, both battling in the final to end their trophy drought. One of them will do it. Liverpool, Arsenal as well, which is, I guess, on paper, both of them are probably the favourites in their ties. That's probably the most likely outcome. And that would be really cool as well. 2 teams battling for the top. It could potentially, be those 2 in the title race. So that'll be interesting. Newcastle, Liverpool, I guess would be pretty cool, to be honest. Although I don't really have a cool narrative around that. In terms of my predictions, Arsenal, Newcastle. You see, if it was just 1 leg at Newcastle, I think Newcastle win that, but over 2 legs, it's going to be interesting. Now, the good thing about Newcastle is, okay, these are played in January and in February. By this point, Arsenal will probably have Champions League kicking in. The title race will be in full swing. Whereas Newcastle, by this point, they're not in Europe. The league might be getting away from them. Newcastle might be the ones taking this more seriously, and Arsenal might have to rotate and may rotate a little bit in this. So that is the thing which I don't know. I actually think maybe Newcastle might do it, especially the second leg being at St James's. If Newcastle can just get like a draw or like a 1-goal loss at the Emirates, take them back to St James's, I back them to actually potentially beat them there. They've beaten them a couple of times now at St James's Park. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm back in Newcastle. I think by this point Arsenal, I probably know they take it that seriously anymore, because they'll be well in the title race and Champions League and stuff. Whereas Newcastle will be fully up for it. I think they'll get like a 1-1 here, and then at St James's Newcastle will beat them. And then Spurs Liverpool is really interesting. Obviously, Spurs I think should be taking this very seriously, because this is a great chance to win a trophy, and Ange has taken it very seriously so far. So I think they'll definitely go very strong, regardless of what they're doing in Europa League or in the league at this point. Whereas Liverpool, again, like Arsenal, by this point, Champions League kicking in, the title race in full swing. We'll see what they're sort of like by this point. That being said, Liverpool's depth is very good. I think they'll probably still rotate, and it will still be a very competitive game. Liverpool, though, like Newcastle, have a big benefit here, because first leg's at Tottenham, second leg's at Liverpool. At Anfield, they can sort of say, okay, we'll rotate for this one, we'll see how we do. Second leg at Anfield, needing a result, they're probably going to do it, which is why I think Liverpool are going to go through in this one. So I think we're probably going to have a Liverpool-Newcastle final, which should be interesting. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in these games. Right, so I want to talk a little bit about some other sort of news and wrap up here. So I want to talk a little bit about Mudryk. So Mudryk recently failed a drugs test, which is very, very unexpected. So club confirmed on Tuesday that they've been contacted by the FA after an adverse finding in a routine urine test provided by the Ukraine international. He has been provisionally suspended by the FA following the positive results, and denies knowingly using a banned substance. Under FA guidelines, players can be provisionally suspended from football following a positive drugs test. Players found to have intentionally taken a banned substance can be banned for up to 4 years under FIFA guidelines. So yeah, in terms of my thoughts on this, I think first it's quite complicated, because obviously the way this works is they do one sample, which is your sample A, and that's where he's been tested positive, but then they do a backup sample, like sample B, and then that's where they see, if that's positive, then it's pretty much like confirmed. But yeah, it's definitely not like a misreading or anything. So as of recording, we still haven't got the sample B yet, so I don't know particularly what's going to happen. We don't know what the exact banned substance was. But the way I see it, again, I don't know the facts, but I think definitely Mudryk probably took something without knowing. I would be shocked if he took something and knew he was taking it and purposefully tried to take PEDs. You look at his statement, he says, "This has come as a complete shock, as I have never knowingly used any banned substances." I think, I don't think he's knowingly done it. I think it's one of those where he's probably accidentally taken something, which is unfortunate, because I think the rules, I think we'll give him a bit of lenience there, but I think the rules are pretty clear that even if you don't know, if there's not intent there, you still get a ban, which is really disappointing for Mudryk, of course. For his career, could really be detrimental. Obviously, someone like Pogba has had this fairly recently, and you've seen he's been out of the game for a long time. He's only just coming back now in January, and we'll see how he does. So yeah, for someone like Mudryk, who's quite young, he's had a difficult time at Chelsea. It's quite disappointing. Hopefully that sample B for him will help him, and he can only have a short ban or no ban at all. But yeah, it's disappointing for Mudryk, that's definitely for sure. And as for Chelsea, I mean, if he does get banned, I'm not sure what sort of action we can take, but like in terms of like terminating his contract or something, I don't know. But it's not good for us because I think that he was actually probably going to get a loan in January. The idea, I think, is pretty clear. Mudryk isn't going to work out. You know, we spent 89 million on this guy, so we need to try and get a return on our investment at some point. It's pretty clear it was never going to work out at Chelsea, but I think what we wanted to do is, okay, send him on loan, try and build his value, and then sell him for like 40 mil or something. However, if he gets a ban, we probably won't be able to do that, which will mean, yeah, this might be one of our worst transfers of all time. But look, this is one of those we just have to wait and see what happens here. But yeah, it's disappointing, obviously, for Mudryk, although it's not really going to affect us, Chelsea, because he doesn't really play too much anyways. Also, I want to talk about Marcus Rashford. So Marcus Rashford recently made some very, very interesting comments in an interview. So after he was dropped from the squad, he said, if I know that a situation is already bad, we're not going to make it worse. When I leave, I'll make a statement. It will be from me. When I leave, it will be no hard feelings. I'm ready for a new challenge and the next steps. So yeah, Rashford pretty much seems like he is out the door at Manchester United. He is not going to be staying at United, and is probably going to leave either in January or at the end of the season. He was also not in the squad for the Spurs Carabao Cup game either. Garnacho was also dropped, but he was on the bench at least. Yeah, Rashford does seem he is going to leave. I mean, yeah, this interview, I mean, he's saying when I leave, not if I leave. Like, he's gone. And I think in January will probably make the most sense. Now, in terms of possible locations, it's kind of a difficult one for Rashford because, you see, Rashford is, of course, a talented player. We all know that. The only problem is, you know, his stock is probably at an all-time low right now. He's had about 2 years now of really, really poor performances, and you know, I don't know what sort of big club is going to sign him. I'm not sure another club in England goes for him. And then looking abroad, like PSG has always been the link, but unless it's a loan, I don't think PSG are actually going to, you know, splash for money to get him. And then you're looking elsewhere, sort of like the top European clubs. Again, I don't think anyone is really gunning to get Rashford because, as I said, his stock is probably at an all-time low right now. Now you do look at what happened with someone like Sancho, who is in a similar, maybe even worse situation than him and has sort of revived his career. So Rashford definitely can revive his career and sort things out. He is 27, so he's still got time, but yeah, I don't exactly know where he goes in January. I suspect he's probably going to go on a loan. I don't think he'll be sold because I think United, their best case with him is sort of loan him out. Hopefully, kind of like they did with Sancho, hopefully he does well, drive up some value, drive up some buyers, and then in the summer selling him, because if they sell him now, they're just not going to get a lot of money for him. So yeah, I think Rashford will probably leave on loan in January. Be interesting what he does and how he does, because as I said, he always does really well. Oh, sorry, he has a lot of talent, and we all know he can do really well, but just about unlocking that. If I was him, I would definitely say I don't think he'll do it, because he sort of comes across like I don't know him, but especially with interviews like this, it sort of comes across like he thinks highly of himself and has a bit of an ego. But I would advise him to go Serie A. I would advise him to try and go to Serie A because a lot of players in this situation have sort of revived their careers in Serie A, and I think Rashford has the talent to really, really do well. I'm thinking players like Lookman, Christian Pulisic, those sort of guys are, star players now all of a sudden, and I think Rashford is more than talented than those guys, so could really, really do some great things there. So that's probably what I would advise him to do. But yeah, it's one to watch in terms of what happens with Rashford. But I don't think he has a future at United. Right, and a couple other little bits. We had a managerial appointment in the Prem. Wolves have appointed a new manager to replace Gary O'Neill. Vitor Pereira has come in from the Saudi Pro League side, Al Shabab. So yeah, he replaces Gary O'Neill and he'll take charge on Sunday's trip to Leicester. So apparently they were looking at David Moyes but opted for Pereira. Now, admittedly I don't know much about Pereira, so let's have a look. He joins having won the Premier League with Porto in 2012 and 2013. Okay, that's pretty good. And the Greek Super League with Olympiacos in 2015. He has been in charge at Al Shabab since February and leaves them 6th in the Saudi Pro League. Okay. Look, as I said, I don't really know too much about him. I do remember he was linked with a couple jobs. I actually think he was linked to the Wolves job like before Gary O'Neill came in. And maybe like the West Ham or Everton job at some point. Because I don't remember hearing his name in sort of a rumour mill about this, but it'll be interesting how he does. To say how long he's been appointed till end of season or like, I don't know, it doesn't say, but yeah, he's highly experienced it seems. He's managed Fenerbahce, it says Corinthians as well. I think he's managing China. So, highly experienced manager. I think one of the things I said with Wolves is they just need a manager who can coach a coherent defence, because the attack is doing pretty well. They just need a manager who can tighten them up at the back and they'll be fine. So let's see how he does. Yeah, definitely be interesting how he does, and we'll see what that first game is like versus Leicester. But they've definitely moved very, very quickly, Wolves. And finally, Everton have finally been taken over. The fired Mashiri reign has ended. 99.5% of the club is believed to be worth in excess of 400 million. And Everton become the 10th club in the Premier League under majority American control. The Friedkin, I don't know how you say that group, has taken charge. They also actually own Serie A as well, and a net worth of £6.6 billion. Yeah, Everton fans will be very, very delighted for Mashiri. The era was pretty bad. Maybe I'll actually do a video on this, to be fair, looking back at the Mashiri era and assessing it, because it was filled with a lot of hope and a lot of promise, but in the end, splashed out a lot of money. It was ambitious, but it just didn't work. I mean, maybe the best thing coming from the Fahd Mashiri era is the new stadium. And you can't fault the ambition of Mashiri. He definitely wanted to try and take him to the next level, but he didn't know how to, and he just had really poor planning, and Everton have really regressed. So they'll be very happy if he got new owners in. We'll see how they do. An interesting thing will be what happens with Sean Dyche, because of course when new owners come in, you've seen it with Ratcliffe at United, saw it with the Saudis at Newcastle. They usually want to appoint their man. They usually want to, get their guy in. So it'll be interesting what happens with Sean Dyche. I imagine it'll be a similar situation sort of with Den Haag, where they'll give him to the end of the season, and then at the end of the season they'll sort of assess, okay, where do we want this long-term project to go. Also going to be interesting what happens with them also owning Roma, because that's not really a good sign, because Roma have been really poorly run in the last couple of years. They've cycled for about 50 managers, and bought a lot of players, spent a lot of money on a lot of sort of wasted money actually. Right now they've already cycled through like 3 managers this season, so I'm not sure how much that is due to their ownership or maybe just the directors they've appointed there, but hopefully for Everton's sake they do not turn out like that. It'll be interesting maybe if they sort of do deals between each other, but it's definitely exciting. It's definitely exciting for Everton fans. A new era and the Mashiri era is over, so yeah. But anyways, that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like, consider subscribing. I'll see another video.